I've got something fun to make. As per my last video, I am hosting a cosplay-themed teddy bear picnic, which I've kind of did around the premise of having a stuffed animal to match whatever cosplay you're wearing to this meetup. And I decided that I was going to dress up my friend Ducky here. Ducky is my childhood stuffed animal. He is as old as me. He's been through a lot. He's had some repairs and injuries, and he's just worn down from being so well loved. So I want to make him a costume that isn't too extreme in fear of damaging him, pulling at his stuffing or his fabric. I've already repaired the poor guy so many times. I don't know what I would do with myself if I were the reason that he broke again. So my costume idea for him is a little cursed. It would be me wearing Maca and him wearing Excalibur. I thought it would be cute because he's a bird, so he's already got the head shape going on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna sketch out a design for him, see what components I'm gonna make and how I'm going to do this as easily as possible. Let's get to a sketchbook. All right, I have a plan. I'm not going too crazy with the costume because of Ducky's fragility and also because of time constraints. I can probably make all of this in the time that I need, but I'm also going on vacation in the middle of now and the event. So that does put a bit of a wrench in things, and also work and other responsibilities. So I figured this would be the easiest, still gets the character across. I'm the most confident in what I want to do with this collar, so I'm going to start that today. I measured Ducky's neck out and I know how I'm gonna make it. I've got all of my materials over here. I've got my felt, a button, some pearls, thread, needles over there. And this is mostly just going to be hand sewing, so let's get to it. Are you ready, bud? This is your moment. You're gonna look so handsome. To start the collar, I cut out a strip of felt that would go around the circumference of his neck and still have a little extra so it could fasten behind. No, I was not cutting my fingers here, I just was trying to pinch it so it stayed at the correct width the entire time. To make the scallop edge, I traced over the bottom with a washable marker. I didn't rinse this off until I was done with the entire collar, so you're going to see some stray marks throughout the entire process, and I'm sorry, I should have done this sooner. To keep the edges somewhat uniform, I cut this out on the fold. It looked cute, but when I tried it around him the first time, it looked kind of constricting. He couldn't move his wings. So I cut out a little bit of the top off on an angle so it would curve around his neck more and give some flexibility. After trying it on again, I fastened the back temporarily and marked where I wanted the buttonhole with that same marker. Then with my X-Acto knife, I punched the hole and made sure it was big enough for my button to go through. Remember to be careful with X-Acto knives, kids. My fingers were really cutting it close there. Then I sewed the button on as you normally do. This is a leftover one from Bard Pomni. I just thought it was perfect because it looked like a little pearl, and I thought the little pearls would be a great addition. And it opens and closes perfectly. There's not a lot of felt that gets caught in there. I thought it would, but I think I cut that hole pretty cleanly. Also, it did stretch after trying it out so many times. I put a little pearl bead on each of the full scallops because I thought it would just be cute and would add a little bit of pizzazz, and it matched the button. I'm starting to run out of this aqua thread, so I used pretty much everything that was left on the spool to get these on, and still had some extra. Not a lot of extra though. I have got to start working with other colors. Then with it done, I could try it on the model to see if he liked it. I think we have a winner. Alright, hat time. Okay, so this is the part that I'm a little more like, I don't know what to do about. Like, I know how I want to make the hat. It's gonna have a foam rim and top, and there's going to be felt with, I guess, a little interfacing as the hat part of the hat. And it's really tall and thin in Excalibur's character art. But Ducky, unfortunately, has a bit of a big head because it is full of quacks. I want it to be like that shape, but I also want it to be able to stay on him. So I'm kind of trying to find the happy medium and also how to attach it. Now that I think about it, the spool of thread is a pretty good base for like how I want it to be. Maybe not this one, but like, oh, that one. I like that one. I did trace around the bottom of this spool and then just kind of eyeballed it for where I wanted to make the full rim. I tried to use as little foam as possible, so the rim was one circle and then the inside of it was the top of the hat. I used my X-Acto knife to cut it out as cleanly as possible because there was no way I was putting my craft scissors through that foam, especially with it not being that close to the edge. And it was just so clean and very satisfying to pop out. With the foam pieces cut out, I could move on to covering them in felt. I also kind of eyeballed this instead of measuring it because felt just doesn't take well to any of my writing utensils. I also put a little X in the middle of the one that was covering the brim so it could fold under the edges. I don't remember where I saw this trick first, but a lot of hat makers do it, so I just converted that to a smaller scale. Then came the glue. First, I attached the pieces to the top of the foam, and then I covered the edges by doing a tiny bit at a time. I will say, brim was harder than top because I had that inner circle to deal with. The little flaps did work, but I don't think I cut them wide enough because when I tried to flip them over, they just kept popping up every time I pushed one down, so I had to go back in retroactively and like cut an extra millimeter off of them. So it got there eventually, but that was pretty frustrating. I will have to actually measure if I ever do this again. The tall part of the hat started as a felt rectangle. I cut out some scraps of interfacing that just so happened to fit without much alteration, and ironed them on off camera. Now it's stiffer and it will stay upright more. I just glued it straight down onto the top of the hat and wrapped it around. There was no rhyme or reason for this. I just needed it to get on, and it stayed that way, so it worked. You have tube. Tube is standing. Tube is standing. After closing the tube and making sure it was even, I could attach it to the rim of the hat. This was also just with glue. I probably could have done this more securely, but adding the band actually helps secure it a little bit more with this little scrap of the aqua fabric. So that will do for now. Right, I went on vacation for a couple of days, but it's okay because the last thing I have to do is super easy. I am just making a little cane, and all I've got to do is wrap some pipe cleaner around the wing, like so. Oh, hello. Doing that. That's down there. Add the little... Nope, not quite. Finagle with this shape for a very long time. And then that works. And then I can just pull it off and put it back on when it's time to dress him up. All right, so I've got every part of that costume done. And now I just have to run the meetup. Oh boy. I dressed him back up, so you can take a little look more closely at the boy. Unfortunately, the solution to getting the hat to stay was a singular pin in the back. It worked, and it also didn't leave any marks on his head, so I think as long as I stick it to just one, then it won't cause an issue. Everything else is fine. He looks really cute, and I'm just so happy that he's all dressed up. Look at him. Picnic was fun. I spent so much mental energy on this that I am now physically tired and would like to sleep for 7 days straight. Can't really do that because I have work and TinyCon soon, so not an option. A good amount of people showed up, a lot of food, a lot of cute little plushie costumes. I'm glad that people were really into the theming, and I felt like it was a good time. Definitely would have given myself more time to get there before it starting because I felt a little rushed setting it up. But on the bright side, there were goats. Some lady brought her pet goats to the park and I got to pet them as I was setting up, so that was a great stress reliever. I wish I had gotten photos or footage of the event, but as the runner, I had to kind of lock in on making sure everything was going smoothly. Maybe next year, if there's a next year. I hope there's a next year. It would be cool if this became an annual thing and if people were still interested a year from now. So thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit all of the buttons, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!